What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Reformed Reader, the channel where we review different forms of media through the lens of a Christian who is under the authority of the scriptures. My name is Josh, and today I want to go over 10 things that I have learned about being on Booktube for almost a year now. So yeah, I've been on YouTube, Booktube, I guess. I'm one of those people that's like, doesn't even like calling myself a YouTuber or a Booktuber or whatever. And so today I want to encourage others to maybe start a YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know already, my YouTube journey kind of started with the guys over at Talking Story, where they did the Town Square, and I started doing the inappropriate times for a book recommendation. And that sort of wet my palate a little bit for making book videos on YouTube, for throwing my name in the hat. And it wasn't just them, but others encouraged me because I had some reservations about even starting, because I thought, well, you know, what am I going to say?
Oh, The Way of Kings is good, or Mistborn is good, or John Gwynne is a good author.
So you can hear that from just about anybody. And so I thought, well, if I'm not going to add anything new to the mix, then why do it at all? And I realized that that's flawed for a few reasons, because number one, I'm adding my perspective into the mix, which may be vastly different from somebody else's, but I wanted to make sure that my videos were both entertaining and informative, which I hope that they are, and I hope that they continue to improve in that regard. But I would like for this video to be an encouragement to some of you guys that are maybe on the fence about making videos, and just encourage you and say, you can do it, and it's a lot of fun. And so here's 10 things that I have learned over the past almost 12 months about posting videos on here that maybe some of you guys who are newer, or some of you guys that are on the fence, maybe you guys are looking for some information or some tips to help you out. But these are just 10 things that I've learned. So I just kind of want to put a note here and say that this is what I have experienced with the limited amount of time that I've been on here, based on how I produce and edit these videos. So this is not going to be the same for everybody, but for how I produce my videos and how I edit my videos, and for what I'm looking for as far as these YouTube videos goes, this has been sort of my perspective for the past 10 to 12 months. So without any further ado, let's jump into number 10. Number 10 is that you are your own worst critic. Yeah, you are your own worst critic. Now, I mean this two ways, because most of the time when people say this, they mean, oh, well, you're going to be more harsh on yourself than anybody else. And while I think that's true, I also think that it's true that you may not be a very good critic of yourself. Meaning, you know, maybe you think the video looks fine. Maybe you don't think you say too many times, maybe, or whatever. And maybe you need that outside perspective. It is good to ask for feedback from other people, other creators, maybe some friends you've made over on YouTube or Instagram or whatever. You know, ask, just come right on and ask them. Just say, hey, does my lighting stink? Hey, I could tell my audio wasn't exactly up to par here. Maybe you can give me some tips or whatever. So I definitely think that we need that outside perspective, not just making videos, by the way, but specifically today we're talking about making these videos. So I would say try to find some people that are going to be honest with you, and sometimes brutally so, and don't let your feelings get hurt about it. And it's going to be difficult because you are going to be putting in a lot of time, effort, and energy. And rather than getting upset about it, maybe we should look at it constructively, because, you know, when people are tapping on the keyboard, immediately we just assume that everybody is out to get us or out to hate us for whatever reason. And that may not be the case. It could be. And sometimes those comments can be funny, but they may be actually trying to help, or they may be going, you know, maybe they're letting you know that they can't hear, you know, even in the editing process when it renders the video down, maybe it didn't render it up properly and you didn't go back and look at it before you hit post. It could be any number of things. But yeah, you can definitely be your own worst critic, meaning that, yeah, maybe you just are sort of living in your own bubble and going, well, this is what I want to do and this is how I want to do it, and so there it is, which I don't think is necessarily the right attitude to have. It is sometimes, and so I think it's a bit of both. I think you need to go, well, this is the channel that I want to create. This is the content that I want to create, and I want to create it in this way. And I don't want to throw in a lot of this other stuff. And so maybe somebody's critique won't fit here, but it is always good to listen to that criticism if they actually are being constructive with it. And yeah, you can be your own worst critic. So if you're watching your videos every time you post one and you're sitting there just being self-deprecating because of the amount of times you say or the amount of times you scratch your face, or get lost on a rabbit trail or whatever, like, just reel it back and realize, like, I'm creating videos for YouTube talking about books or whatever else it may be. And so, just maybe don't take yourself super seriously in that regard. Because yeah, I do think that you can be your own worst critic, and that can lean one of two different ways, and sometimes can lean both. So take a step back, maybe get an outside perspective that can definitely help you out there, because there are people out there that would love to actually help. Okay, number 9 is going to be that it's okay to say no. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when I first started making YouTube videos, especially talking about books, I thought, you always have that thing in the back of your mind where you're like, it would be so cool if I got sent books by publishers or by authors. That would be so cool. And it is. It's super cool. But it happens a lot more frequently and a lot more quickly than you would first assume. At least it has for me. And you're going to be flooded with inquiries. If you're on YouTube, you probably have an Instagram account that will promote your videos, or maybe you're on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. Whatever the case may be, I wouldn't doubt that your inbox is probably flooded with inquiries from self-published authors or otherwise who are saying, hey, I wrote this book. Would you be interested in reading it? Or, hey, I thought you would like this book. Can I send you a free copy and maybe have you reviewed on the channel? That kind of stuff. While I'm always, and I mean this, I'm always super flattered when people would even consider me because of how small my channel is, and even how much smaller my Instagram account is. I've gotten flooded over the past 12 months with inquiries about, hey, would you be interested in reading this book or my book or this other book? And so it really pulls your attention away from the things that you've been wanting to talk about. So I wish somebody would have told me ahead of time, hey, it's okay to tell them no, because early on I was just saying yes to everything, and I got bogged down to the point to where I started taking books on that I really had no intention of reading. And so yeah, it's okay to say no. If somebody asks if they can send you a book and it doesn't sound like something that's your cup of tea, I mean, just let them know. They may send it anyway. They may just, hey, we appreciate your channel and we appreciate what you're doing, so we just want to say thank you. And hey, if you get time, here's a copy of this book. And that's awesome. And I'm happy to do that. But it can definitely seem like, for me, that there's obligation there for me to read that book and to read it quickly. So it's okay to say no. And it's also okay to say no when people are asking for you to collaborate with them. I'm not telling you not to, because the collaboration videos will actually do very well for you. I've done a couple of them where I'll have other creators come on and they'll recommend books or that kind of thing. And I plan to do more of those, mainly just because I think they're fun. And I love getting to talk to these other individuals that I otherwise would have liked. It would have been my wildest dream to get to talk to some of these booktubers. But you may, if your channel starts picking up, you may be getting flooded with inquiries of, hey, would you throw in a recommendation here, 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 here? And if you're just bombarded, it's okay to say no. I've said no to things, and that's okay. I just want to let you guys know that it is okay to say no. If your schedule is booked up and you can't pick up somebody's indie book that they're wanting to send you, that's okay. And I would also like to stress that it's okay to not put out a video. If you say, well, I'm going to do one video a week, and then you're just bombarded one week with real life, and you're like, man, I just don't want to put a video out. Don't. It's okay. People will have other things to watch. It's perfectly fine. My friend Sam over iSamwise, he and I actually talked about this recently. You don't have to put videos out. And I have put that stipulation on myself where I'm like, I'm going to put out 2 videos a week. I've done that to myself, and now I feel obligated to do so. But you don't have to. It's okay. People will find other things to watch. So if you feel bombarded, like, it's okay to say no to yourself. It's okay to go, you know what, this week I just need a break. And you don't even have to tell everybody that you're taking a break. You can just, because they may not even notice that you're gone. And that's a harsh truth, but it's one that I have personally learned. So yeah, it's okay to say no. Okay, number 8 is that it's better to have good audio over good video. So I've mentioned this several times, but if you're looking to make YouTube videos, like, this is going to be your best friend. Yeah, this is a great place to start. But just be aware that people are much more likely to watch a video that has good audio over a video that actually has high quality video. Because as I've learned over the past 12 months, that a lot of people don't even actually watch my videos. They just listen to them. So maybe don't put a ton of pressure on yourself about making sure you have, crazy good lighting, or making sure that you have, you're spending all this money on a camera or whatever. This will work just fine. Just make sure, if I was going to give you any advice, it would be to make sure that you have a good audio source, even if that means picking up a cheap lapel mic from Amazon that will fit your phone, or maybe even, I know they don't do them as much anymore, but if your phone came with the earbuds that have a mic, that's actually a pretty good microphone. And so just anything that will help to bring clarity to your vocals, that's an excellent option, especially if you don't want to do any editing. But then if you want to do some editing, there's free software out there that will help edit the audio to give you good quality audio where you can add compressors and remove background noise and that kind of stuff. But just be aware that people are much more likely to continue to watch a video with good audio, because just imagine for a second that this video was all grainy, and I'm actually going to do that now. But you can hear my voice maybe crystal clear. It's much more likely that you're going to continue to watch or listen to this video rather than me switch it, which I will do now.
Because here, the audio may sound atrocious, and people
switch back. And people are probably going to turn that off immediately. I know that I would. So high quality audio over high quality video. And then maybe over time you can start tweaking those things. Okay, number 7 is going to be count the cost. So really count the cost. What I mean by that is, I mean that twofold. The first is financially, count the cost. Again, you don't need a ton of things to get started. I didn't. Go back and watch some of my first videos that I posted. They're pretty bad. And I haven't really purchased any new equipment since then. I've purchased these 2 lights right here, and I think maybe these 2, but I've purchased a couple of lights just to help improve my video quality, but the camera is the same. And so maybe don't dive headfirst into purchasing a bunch of equipment, and definitely don't go into debt for, making YouTube videos. This camera right here that's on your phone is one of the best cameras that you can find on the market. I'm using a, I'll maybe put it somewhere right here. I'm using a little webcam that I had purchased previously, and all of this equipment, with the exception of these lights, I already had from making videos doing Sunday school lessons and things like that. So this microphone I've had for a couple of years, that camera I've had for 1.5 to 2 years. Otherwise, you don't really need a whole lot. And like I said, this works great. And I know a lot of creators that use this, a lot of successful ones. I mean, look at Brian Lee Durfee's channel. This is an excellent option. So don't just dive headfirst into it. But if you really are wanting that really high production value of a video, there's definitely some expenses that will occur there. So maybe keep that in mind. But the biggest one is to count the cost as far as your time goes, because this can definitely be a time sink. Keep in mind that I'm not just recording the videos, but then I have to go back and edit them, and that takes a ton of time each week. It doesn't have to, but like I said, this is how I produce my videos, is I make sure that I want it to look good, I want it to sound good, I want it to be entertaining, but on top of that, I want it to be well edited, and that's just me. I think it represents who I am better. That's why I like editing so much, because I'm able to tell a story. So if you want to get into all that, if you want to get into the weeds of editing, it's going to take quite a bit of time. And also keep in mind the amount of time that it's going to take away from reading. So if you're making videos about books, for each video that you record and edit each week, that's taking X amount of hours away from the books that you want to read, and in turn talk about to other people. So keep that in mind, and also don't let it become a priority. If you've got a wife and kids, a job, if you're active in your church, don't let this take priority over those things, because those things are far more important. If you catch yourself being more consistent with recording and editing videos than you do opening your Bible, and I'm talking to me here, it's time to recalibrate a little bit. It's time to back up and punt and say, hey, let's just pump the brakes on this. But I will say, just count the cost, because there is going to be a cost there somewhere. If it's not a financial cost, it is one of time, and sometimes can be both. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Not trying to scare anybody off, but you can put as much time or as little time into these as possible. And also you can put as much money or as little money into these videos as possible. Okay, number 6 is going to be make it fun. Yeah, make these videos fun for you to do. I know a lot of YouTubers across the board, not just Booktube, but they suffer from burnout, and I completely understand. And a large part of that is they stop having fun creating videos. So just find ways to keep it fun for you to continue to create these. You know, I know sometimes it can be discouraging when you don't see like your subscriber count go up, or you see your subscriber count actively going down. That can be discouraging. Somebody leaving, a comment can be discouraging, or whatever. Maybe you think, I'm just shouting into the air and nobody's listening. But if you continue to make it fun for yourself, you'll keep doing it regardless of if one person watches it, or if 100 people watch it, or if 10,000 people watch it. Yeah, just continue to make the videos that you want to make, that are fun for you to make. And there's numerous ways to do that. For me, I think that it's fun to constantly make fun of myself, as a lot of you guys know. Little things like when I sneeze in the middle of a video, or when I trip, or when I knock books over, whatever. Rather than cutting all that stuff out and making my videos look like really corporate, actually draw attention to those things because it's funny, And so I want to make fun of myself. And what that does is it keeps it lively for me. It makes it fun. Also, like the book trailers that I do in my book reviews. The reason I started doing that is because, I can tell you what the book's about. I can read the back. I can give you a summary or whatever, and that's fine. But you can find that on Amazon. You can find that on the back of the book, or you can find other people that do it a lot better. So I was just like, what would make this a lot more fun is if they had a movie trailer for the book that they're about to read. And so that part is really fun for me, is to piece together, different movie clips, TV shows, pictures, or whatever, and combine those with some music to help convey the themes and the timbre of the book itself, and to try to encapsulate it in under a minute. That's super fun to me. It may not be for everybody, but that's one of the things that keeps videos fun for me, as I get to make fun of myself. I get to tell a story with pictures and video clips, or I get to throw in little memes and stuff like that in my videos. So if you continue to do that, it'll keep these videos that you make fun for you to make. But also just make sure you're making the videos that you want to watch and that you want to make. Like, if you read a book that nobody else has read, maybe you think nobody else cares about, but it's a book that you want to talk about, make that video, because there's somebody else out there that wants that video, and it may be their favorite video ever. And it could also cause them to subscribe to your channel and to dig through your catalog, or numerous other things. But yeah, just make the videos that you want to make, regardless of whether or not it's good for the algorithm. The whole chasing the algorithm thing, to me, I get it. That's why people do top 10 lists. I mean, I'm literally making a 10 things that I learned on YouTube, but it's because I want to give you guys information and maybe help, rather than me go, ooh, this will, get plenty of views or whatever. I don't care about that. But there are a lot of people that do. There's a lot of people out there that care about, I got to play the algorithm game in order to make my video show up in front of people in the feed, so that way they'll watch the videos, and then I can, get monetized and subscribe on Patreon or whatever. And all that's fine if that's what you want to do. But for me, I think when you're watching these videos, you can tell with certain creators that there comes a point where it's less about making the videos that we want to watch and that are fun to watch, and more about videos that you think will be successful as far as view count, as far as monetization, and those kinds of things. And then you'll actually see people drop off because of that. Because yeah, you've lost the reason we came to your channel is because we had fun with you. It was fun and entertaining to watch, and maybe we're starting to lose that. So don't lose sight of that. Make the videos you want to make and find a way to keep them fun. Okay, number 5 is that other YouTubers are awesome. Yeah, other YouTubers are awesome. They are super charitable. They are so gracious, and they're very easily accessible, much more so than I would have expected. One of my favorite booktubers before I started this channel was Josh over at Red Fury Books. I absolutely love his videos. I think he does an excellent job of analyzing books and breaking them down sort of in like a video essay format. I also think he's just a genuinely good dude. And so, I think it was my first little collaboration video. I just sent him a message through Goodreads, I think. And I was like, hey, I'm new to YouTube and I was looking to do a collaboration video. I was wondering if you would throw your name in the hat, just because I personally was interested in what he had to say and I just love his videos. And he messaged me back immediately. He was like, absolutely. And it's just so cool. So I've got to talk to some of the biggest names in Booktube, especially when we're talking about sci-fi and fantasy. They're just all regular people. And pretty much across the board, everybody has been awesome. Everybody is extremely helpful. I mean, they are a fountain of information and they're just willing to give it to you. There's no sign up for my course kind of stuff. They're like, hey, if you have a question about what camera are you using, what lighting, what microphones are you using, what editing software are you using, how are you doing this and this and this, they are so helpful. And so everybody that I've talked to has just been awesome. And I mean that. I have not met a single person on YouTube that I've talked to that has been a negative experience whatsoever. Everybody has been so gracious. So yeah, they're super accessible. They're just like, yeah, reach out to me in whatever way, whether it be email or through Goodreads or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And they are happy to talk to you. I mean, that's why they started making videos, is because they want to talk to people about books. And so, yeah, it's just been so awesome. So yeah, booktubers and people on YouTube they've just been fantastic. Okay, number 4 is going to be that authors are accessible. I did not realize that authors were so accessible. When I first started making these videos, I was like, I really want to talk to some of these authors of my favorite books. And most of them, I'm not going to say all, but most of them are so happy to get to talk to you about their books. I've actually got to talk to a couple of authors that I didn't record for just a couple of reasons. And I just wanted to chit chat with them. And it has been so much fun. And then I've got several other authors lined up to have conversations with so that they can promote their books, but they also just love talking to us, the people that are reading their books. And it's not like an ego boost for them. It's not like,
yeah, go ahead and tell me how much you like my book.
It's not that. They don't have that attitude, but they just want to share their love of writing with the people that are purchasing their content, or they're purchasing their product. And they have all just been awesome. Yeah, they are so accessible. I mean, for those of you that saw my interview with Larry Correa, it was so cool. I just reached out to one of his publishers and was like, hey, I just want to promote the book. Let Larry know I've loved his books. And so if there's any way that I can help promote the book, let me know. And then his publisher immediately messaged me back. I was like, hey, do you want to have him on the channel? Which, I was kind of hopeful for, but I didn't expect it to just be, they're like, yeah, he'd love to come on. He loves talking to people on YouTube and stuff. And so that was super cool. And it has been the case for every one of them that I've gotten to talk to. Some of them I've waited for a few reasons. Some of their books haven't come out yet, and I've got to talk to a few of them, but it's just been so cool to realize that authors are super accessible. Brian Lee Durfee sent me a copy of his book signed and personalized to me, which was awesome. Jim Butcher's reached out, Naomi Novik, Timothy Zahn, Ryan. I've talked to Ryan Cahill. I've talked to Luke Scholes, JL Odom, ZSD Amani, but then I've talked to some of the big, I've got to email back and forth with Christopher Rocchio. I've got to email back and forth with James Logan, who wrote The Silver Blood Promise. I mean, it's just, you can just reach out to these people and just send them. James Islington was one. You just send them an email and just let them know, hey, I loved your book. And they love to hear that because, they have to sit in a room in front of their computer and just type all day. So getting to hear true feedback from their fans, I'm sure they greatly appreciate. So yeah, it's just been crazy how easily accessible some of these authors have been. Okay, number 2 is going to be that making these videos can be easy, and it gets easier. Yeah, it can be so easy, and it definitely gets easier. So like I've mentioned before, if you're looking to get started, man, this is an excellent place to start. Just put your phone up somewhere on a counter or whatever. Maybe even get one of those cheap tripods that hold your phone. I mean, you could just use this and just make your content and hit publish. And I know it's scary because you're like, what if somebody says this, or what if they don't like this, or blah, 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 blah. But that rarely happens. But it can be so easy to just set your phone up and hit record and talk about a book that you love. For somebody like me that loves to talk, talking comes naturally. So yeah, it can be so easy for you to do. So don't be afraid to just hit record and hit publish, because the first video and the first few videos are going to be tough because you're going to be so nervous, but it does get easier. It gets easier to look at a camera, because like right now I'm not talking to somebody, but it gets easier to look at the camera and talk. For instance, it's a lot easier and more comfortable for me to look at myself on screen here than it is to look into the camera. Those little things, they will come over time, and it gets a lot easier to just get to sit and talk and then hit publish, because you realize that you actually are talking to other people. You're not just talking to the air, and that people actually care about what you have to say. So yeah, it can be super easy, and it definitely gets easier. And the number one thing that I've learned in the past 10 to 12 months of being on YouTube is that the community is awesome. You guys are awesome. You guys are just fantastic. It's been so great to get to talk to some of you and to get to build like real relationships with you guys. This community is just fantastic. You guys are so encouraging and uplifting, and I mean it. Like there have been days where I'm like, it just kind of seems like I'm just wasting my breath, wasting my time and my efforts and energy. And then it'll be like without fail, somebody will send me a message through Instagram, or send me a comment over YouTube or through Facebook, or just email me, and they're like, hey, just want to let you know how much I appreciate your videos and how much fun I have watching your videos. And let me tell you, like that right there, like it'll light a fire under you. It really does. Every single message that I get from you guys really means a lot. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys with the encouragement and the edification that you guys bring. But it not only does it help me make these videos, but it's the reason why I make these videos, because it reminds me that, you know what, maybe I am providing an actual service for somebody. Maybe I'm actually helping somebody make a decision on whether or not to pick these books up. Maybe I'm actually helping a family decide whether or not, you know, this author is an author for them, or that they need to be entertaining these things. But maybe it's something as simple as, maybe I'm just getting them to ask the question of whether or not they should, and not trying to like condemn anybody, but you know, sometimes it's good to have somebody say, hey, maybe we should or shouldn't be entertained by these things. Or, you know, maybe we need to be more faith forward with our lives. Maybe we need to be more public and not less public with the way the world is. And so I've received messages like that, and it's just, man, it's just meant the world to me. It's really just touched me in a way that that I didn't expect. So yeah, the biggest thing that I've learned and will continue to champion is, man, this community is just so awesome. So if you guys are kind of on the fence about whether or not to start shooting these videos, go for it, because you have a ton of people ready to back you up, ready to help out, ready to promote your videos. And I don't think anybody is hoping or cheering for you to fail. We're all cheering for your success. I always am glad to hear about my friends on YouTube who have hit another milestone, who have hit the 2,000 subscriber mark, or 1,000 or 100 or 10. It's like, I'm like, yes, that is so awesome, and can't wait for you to just blow up even more. It has been great, and I just can't thank you guys enough. So guys, these are 10 things that I have learned so far about making videos on YouTube. Maybe this will be a help to some of you. And more than anything, maybe this will light that fire under you and have you hit record and hit publish. And if you do, please send me the link, because I want to subscribe to your channel. I want to promote your channel. I want other people to get into this space, especially fellow believers, because I used to think that maybe we were outnumbered, but that very well may not be the case. So yeah, I would love to see more Christian voices and more just kind voices in this space. So maybe this has been a help to you. I hope it has. And if nothing else, maybe it's been mildly entertaining. Probably not. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you on the next one.